love when you do the big intro.
Yeah, 800 words or less.
And this will be the last one. Let's just get one more.
Ladies, gentlemen,
Let's go out of the binary.
and everyone in between, welcome to StageCraft. A big welcome to StageCraft. Today we have an
big?
amazing amount of talent all in one room, and boy, oh boy, I encourage you to buckle up and open your ears and enjoy what I like to think of as edutainment, okay?
You coined a phrase, I believe.
Yeah.
All right.
StageCraft.
Edutainment.
Yeah.
Edutainment. Would our guests, our esteemed guests, please lean forward and check in, starting with Wilfredo, who's filling double duty today.
This is Wilfredo Morales, guitarist of the group Swingamajig.
This is Kent Stacks, the drummer of Swingamajig. And I'm John Previty, the bassist with Swingamajig.
This is a bit of a hacky, trite question, but it's probably relevant to the listeners. Can you tell us the origin story of this project? Where was it first conceived?
Well, about 20 years ago, Kent had the name Swingamajig, right?
Swingamajig.
And,
Started?
yeah, the seed was planted, but it's like a sequoia. It takes a long time to grow. Let's see. I take lessons with a good friend, Mr. Rick Whitehead. Shout out to Mr. Rick Whitehead.
Yeah, man.
And I asked him about where I could learn some upright bass or follow and continue that. And he connected me with John. John Previty and I have been working since the pandemic. So we started off online, and we were just working out the fundamentals. And yeah, you know, our friendship grew. Once we were able to return to in person. It was about a solid year of study before we were saying to ourselves, "Hey, we ought to go get out and play." And so John caused a spark, and I had a friend Kent here, who I met last year during the final days of Inner Ear, and he sat in on with another band of mine, the Rajas of Rhythm at the time. And substituted on drums, and we hit it off. We're buds, you know. We goof off, and so between the three of us, we sat down and just recorded some tunes the other day, and just having fun, just trying to be buds and keep it at that, you know, like nothing serious, no worries about a business.
There's no ring yet.
No, yeah. No, but you know, like we're not out to conquer the world or anything. We're just hanging out and having fun.
That's a beautiful thing to do. Both things, hanging out and having fun.
If you can conquer the world at the same time, you've got something now.
Oh, sure.
How's it been going for you so far?
Oh, for me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, great.
Conquering the world, I mean.
Oh, well, you know, one sock at a time. Socks before shoes is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Or one pant leg at a time.
That's right, Don.
Man, you totally stumped me there. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So origin stories as they are, tell me about the musical chemistry that makes up your delicious stew, and then maybe you could take us into a song straight into that.
All right. Well, you got to start with a good bass. You know,
yeah.
like you need a stock or something, and we've got the best bass available here, Mr. John Previty.
Yes, sir.
Keeps me in line. He keeps me in check. A solid beat, something to base my next movement on. So point of reference is helpful, and yeah, we're trying to be, you know, hanging out and just good buds. Coming from a place of love is what I said last time we were playing. You know, like it's okay. We're gonna mess up. That's expected. You know, and just laugh it off and move on and have some fun. So, with that in mind, here are a ton of mistakes, okay, in no particular order.
That's fantastic. What is that song?
Afternoon in Paris by John Lewis. It's like a wonderful little, lighthearted swing tune.
And can I ask what the first song was?
Oh, that one was Coda the Friend, an original composition. A Prevedi Stax Morales original.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I gave them the chords, and these guys, run havoc through it. It's really fun, the
You gotta put that
collaborative
on
process,
record.
though.
That's really good.
Thank you. Yeah. We can't wait to hear the outcome of this, actually. It'll be really great to see how it comes out.
It'll be interesting since no one's watching the meters.
Especially, yeah, totally. This is the first, distorted jazz record.
Right.
Yeah. All throughout.
So is the composer related to Huey Lewis?
I really hope that's the news.
Oh.
You finally got it, Fred.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got it in there.
John Lewis was the pianist with the Modern Jazz Quartet.
Oh.
And one of Dizzy Gillespie's favorite pianists, actually, was in his dream band. Yeah, he wrote a lot of great stuff.
Great. Great. It's a beautiful song. Beautiful song. Well done. And John, what I really I enjoyed watching you just move around on the bass. It was you did a dance number on that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow.
It is remarkable how easy the three of you make that look when I know for a fact it's not that easy.
Yeah. I picked up a couple of tips and ideas from Mr. Rick Whitehead, and he gave me the idea to play it in sixths. I'll come to him on a regular basis, here's what I'm working on. And he'll just fly through, oh, you mean like this? I'm like, kinda, I guess. And it's still new to me. I'm having played a lot of rock. Most stuff is in one key.
Sure.
If you're lucky, or if it's gonna push the boundaries, they'll take it up half step near the end.
Sure.
Or something like that, or for the bridge. But managing the movement, harmonizing, and then changing keys with it. It's still just all I can do to keep up with these fine gentlemen. So thanks, man. Yeah, it's funny. The devil's in the details,
You sound great, Will. And as always, you're a national treasure. Everyone knows that.
If not international.
Could be worldwide.
Yeah. Could be worldwide.
Intergalactic.
Yes.
We play big in Peoria.
All right.
This is Wilfredo Morales, guitarist of the group Swingamajig.
This is Kent Stax, the drummer of Swingamajig. I'm John Previty, the bassist with Swingamajig.
Hey, I have a couple questions, if I may. Thank you.
By all means.
Thank you. John, and forgive me if people ask you this all the time. But a couple of things really do pop out if you read about John and your numerous accomplishments, your incredible resume. As a songwriter, Paul Simon is like a mythological creature to me. Can you talk about your time working with Paul Simon, what you did and what that was like?
Sure. Well, I got that through Arlen Roth, the great guitar player, of course, who had played with Simon and Garfunkel for quite some time. And this is soon after Danny Gatton passed. So it was, Paul Simon was working on that musical of his, Cape Man.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And so he got Shannon Ford on drums and myself and Bill Holloman. All of us. Bill Holloman played keyboards and trumpet and sax with Danny. So he was working on the tunes as when we met.
Yeah.
And it was kind of exciting. I got it was neat to watch. I actually one day was watching him write a song right before my very eyes, and I got so enthralled that and then I'm watching him, and then he goes, "Okay, let's cut it." And I said, "What?" I said that internally. And we started to play. It was like your worst nightmare. It was like playing with Miles Davis with a cigar box and a Band-Aid or something. He said, "Okay, let's go." And we played, and somebody else made a mistake before I did, and so we had to stop. And then so that was exciting. But anyway, just watching him work on a song, and he has this fabulous narrative ability, as everyone knows, and so it was just really, it was pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, watching any pro perform, rehearse, you sort of learn things on how to do things.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, he's something. So
Wow.
That's great. And of course, you for 18 years were playing with the amazing Danny Gatton.
yeah, well, I met him, I guess, in 1976. I think I was 22 by this point, and by that December we were playing together. So
Wow.
and well, he was a mentor, a great friend, and taught me an awful lot about music and how to be in a group with other people. He was the first person to say, well, you know, you have to listen to everybody. And I remember thinking, how do I do that? You know, because all I knew was, you know, I heard everyone, but I didn't know how to do that. And it was really cool. He taught me a lot about, he didn't really specifically teach me things. He would just play the way he played. And then, of course, he would show me how to do things authentically. You know, we did all kinds of music, of course. So it was.
Yeah,
it
the
was-
best, I think the best people, the best mentors, they give you an attitude and they give you a, you know, well, look at this or look at that. They don't tell you, look at the tree or look at the,
Right.
look at a certain thing. They just give you a direction.
Yeah.
Wow.
And-
You do you after that, I suppose. You're supposed to, you know, learn with the skills you've learned, play your authentic self.
Right.
And that's pretty amazing, and that's what
And
a
Danny
what
was
a
so
learning
authentic.
experience.
Right, exactly. And whatever he did, it was the real deal.
No doubt.
You didn't necessarily say this specifically, and so if I'm totally off, just say so. You know, but sometimes it seems like music touches on something that's even more than the sum of its parts. Like there's something even like bigger at work than anyone can actually
Oh,
perform
There's no
with.
question about that. I
Can you
agree.
talk a little bit about any experiences that come to mind when you think of things like that?
Well, if Dave Elliott were here, he would back me up on this. When I played with Danny, it's hard to explain. It almost sounds corny, but if we played a Fats Domino tune, I just felt like I was there in 1956 when he was doing it. It's really hard to explain. And Danny could communicate non-verbally. He would look at me, I'm not kidding. Then Dave said the very same thing. He'd look at me and his eyebrow would go up and you knew where to go. I don't know how to explain it other than that. Because he was so powerful. And I have to say, I remember playing with Charlie Bird the first time I met Charlie Bird in 1980. I knew one song that he did. It was Girl from Ipanema, and I probably played that wrong. And he was such a gentleman and took me through that gig. I played with him for a weekend. And he was, the only thing he told me, he said, you know, it was during the break, he said, of course he did a lot of bossa nova, he said, if you do me a favor and don't slap your strings in between the beats. And I'd go, chicka, doom, like that. He said, if you could, don't do that. And he said, no, it's going to mess with your mind. Go ahead and do it. But I said, no, I'll stop. And so ever since then, I don't do that.
Wow.
But someone like that, I get no credit for getting through that gig, let me tell you. And yet he didn't do anything to make me feel like I couldn't cut it. He didn't browbeat me, and Danny was the same way. You know, they were. If you were there, it's because they wanted you there.
Yeah.
You know? So, and they do everything they could to make it work.
That's great to hear.
Out of curiosity, what were practices like? Did you guys practice regularly?
With Danny?
Yeah.
No, I don't think. We'd rehearse if we had a recording. We might get to the studio and early and go over something, but no, I learned 98% of what I did with him just on the stage. You know.
What about
Ken,
you,
this is
Wilfredo?
a big-
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I stepped on your question. Go ahead.
No, I stepped on your question.
What about you? Have you ever touched the other? Have you ever had an experience musically that was, you know, bigger than something you could explain?
This is Wilfredo Morales, guitarist of the group Swingamajig.
This is Kent Stacks, the drummer of Swingamajig. And I'm John Previty, the bassist with Swingamajig.
I suppose I've been looking for an extended family and growing my own community. The music is always generally making me feel awesome and like better than I was going into it. And so I try to see the beauty in everything, the beauty in dirt and whatnot. And it's walking off stage, I always feel the endorphins running. And, I think with the right attitude, every moment can be a holy moment and that kind of thing. I don't always get it, but yeah, man, community. And I was just talking about these fellas here, fellowship. It's what gets me out of bed and, keeps me going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Kent, I was wondering, I mean, this is a little departure from Scream, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I've been departed from Scream for a while. But
So what
Yeah.
what drove you to get together with these?
Will, mainly. And he said I was going to be playing with John Previty, and I was like, what? Yes, sir. Okay. No, I've only heard about you and maybe seen you once or twice, something like that, but everybody I play with knows who you are, that's for sure. You know what I mean? The whole community does. But I'm playing jazz, I've been, I guess, playing in my own little band for probably a little over like 15 years so far. I was really more of a listener of jazz than I was a player of one. Because I was, playing hard rock, reggae, funk, everything else, you know what I mean? But I just kind of felt like I should be there. Plus, I can make a little bit of money, to be honest with you, by doing it.
Well, people like listening to it for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
smooth music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And you guys can people, I know we're probably, depending on when this is broadcast, where can people hear you guys?
when?
When?
Since we're so new,
We got 2 gigs lined up.
Yeah.
July
What?
10th.
July 10th.
4 mile
from our run, from our farmer's market,
And we also have the Westover Beer Garden.
Okay.
That's also at July. I think that's like the 8th or something like that.
Is John going to be there? I didn't think he was.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's why I didn't know any of the dates of our full band, because we're actually brand new. We started yesterday for the first time, literally.
Yeah.
So
And
Wow.
yeah, so right, we've been modular. I'll project into here. Kent
This?
and
good. We'll share this.
I, sure, man. Yeah, Kent and I, we've played a few shows already, like a 2-hour gig here or a 2-hour gig there in the local Delray community. We
Drums
played
and
in the
guitar.
Drums and guitar, brushes and guitar, and that was this place right across from that barbecue place you're playing. I think that's 4 mile of Mount Vernon Avenue over by that bagel shop. What's that bagel shop called, Deb?
Uprising.
Uprising.
Bagel Uprising, yeah, just down the street from there. It's just this like little community, outdoor community event they call First Thursdays. Curiously enough, it was the second Thursday of the month, but it was a rescheduled date. And then we played another gig before that. What did we do?
The Wilson Boulevard. What's the name of that place? I can't remember.
I'm blanking. Yeah. We clearly didn't do. Yeah, we didn't do our pre-show interview. But yeah, we've been playing already, and it's been modular. When we do show up in full force like today, it's going to be great. It's a speculative market though, and so yeah, we're just having fun with it, and I think recording is where it's at. Operating a recording studio. I think there's a lot of potential to just put points on the board and have a ton of music out this summer. Just goofing off with buddies.
Can people hear you on Bandcamp or SoundCloud or something
You
like
know,
that soon?
Soon. Yeah, like
Soon.
it'll be hot off the presses.
Could we just text you and ask you to send us a sound clip? Could we
Yeah,
do
that's
that?
right. You send
You
a
could-
letter to Double Sharp Audio.
So what you're saying is this
self-addressed
show is an
letter.
exclusive. Having
Self-addressed
we gotta
stamped
get this. We
envelope
gotta get this episode
with
out there.
$20 cash to Double Sharp Audio.
So friendship, community, having a good time, all those things are important, and they're wonderful things. Talk about what are some of the, because not to throw you gentlemen under the bus, but you've had some storied careers. You've been playing music for quite some time. What are some of the things that you see get in the way of talent when people have the skills, but then they're not able to like apply those in a way that gets them like an audience?
This is Wilfredo Morales, guitarist of the group Swingamajig.
This is Kent Stacks, the drummer of Swingamajig. And I'm John Previty, the bassist with Swingamajig. What did you say? You just have to team up with somebody who wants to actually go out there and play, and you just got to keep hounding the clubs, restaurants, bars, what have you, to get you to do it. And also, another good thing, it would be, I guess, open mics. I mean, that's to also meet people, that sort of thing. That helps as well. So,
Do you ever say no to gigs?
sometimes, if I'm busy with another one or something like that, yeah. Yep.
We definitely run into two schools of thought. Not that there's only two schools of thought, but there's definitely a camp of people who think you say yes to every gig, you take every opportunity, and then there's other people who think that you curate more the experience.
Well, I
that
mean,
you're
if you
trying
got room for it, go for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, but it's like if somebody offered me one gig, then they say, no, can you play on this same day for a little bit more money? I probably would not take the one with more money unless they flew me overseas or something like that. But I wouldn't. I don't like cancel out gigs over one I already get.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's just bad manners.
Well, I think what we're saying
In a lot
though
of
is
ways.
saying no to gigs that you're like, oh, that's not a good fit for me, or that venue's not a good fit for me, or that bill's not a good fit
I
for
mean,
me. More like stuff
if
like that.
you're in a band or something, your band will play anywhere or fit anywhere. You know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't care really where I played. You know what I mean? So.
But you know, Alex, most
doesn't bother me
people
so
who
much.
book, they sort of know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, they know, if you're a heavy metal band playing at the Bagel Place, you won't be booking there anymore.
Good. No, just kidding. But that used to be the idea. But
As long as you keep
anyways.
it family friendly.
Right.
Roadside Grill.
That's it.
Ooh,
Daggone
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I know that room.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was great. That was our first.
Is this
little
on
gig,
the
wasn't
open mics there?
No,
you're playing there?
I've done one of those before. It was just like an event, a booked event.
Nice. Nice.
Fun.
I have a question for Kent.
it? Yeah.
Legendary drummer Kent Stacks.
Oh, boy.
Holy mackerel! I can't believe
And
I'm looking at
fisherman.
you.
And
Oh, do you
fisherman,
fish?
Cape Hatteras. Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't been
okay.
down there for a couple of years
All
actually.
right.
But yep.
So, gosh, you were around during a legendary period of time in DC, the punk rock scene, of course, on F Street, lots of gigs on F Street. Yeah.
Yep. The 930 Club.
Go-Go was bubbling up as well.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about what that was like with the punk scene and then the Go-Go scene kind of merging and also, well, if you would start there.
Well, the go-go thing, it was like a homegrown sort of a sound of funk,
Yeah,
and it's got its own little rhythm,
that's right.
and I love it since I
do
like to
too,
play
man.
drums. You know what I'm saying? Booka-baka, booka-baka,
Yeah.
booka-ka-doom-ka-ka-doom. I don't know what to say about that, but it was still underground, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And then Trouble Funk kind of
Yep.
hit the
EU.
scene. And EU, who I
Yep.
saw this past weekend at a barbecue competition on the mall. It
Oh,
was
really?
Unbelievable. They're
Nice.
still doing it. Can you talk a little bit about your influences as a drummer coming up?
When I first started playing drums,
Yes, sir.
listening to my older brother's records when I was like maybe 3-4 years old.
Yeah.
It'd be like the Beatles,
Okay.
Elvis Presley, early rock and roll,
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh my God, the killer.
Oh yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, I'd probably just say it was just mainly the Beatles.
Yeah.
And then when I was like maybe 7-8 years old, I kept banging on stuff. You could get in trouble at school for banging on the desks.
Yes, sir.
But you make a lot of sounds out of a desk.
That's right.
Hit the bottom of the metal and the top. I used to get sent to the office.
Literally.
And it's like I didn't feel bad about it.
No,
But
because they weren't sending you there for tempo issues.
but I ended up taking private lessons when I was like 8, 9 years old.
Yes,
And I
sir.
was in a school band from like what was it, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, etc. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed playing concert music, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
And that's really kind of the basic of it. But I still listen to rock and roll and/or jazz
yeah.
on the radio, that sort of thing.
And you start gigging when you're how old?
My first performance, I was 10 years old at the Glen Force Elementary auditorium.
Oh, wow.
I was in the chorus.
Okay, yeah.
Not that I could sing real good, but then I started, I was in the school band, so I got to play a little bit of that.
Sure.
That's a start.
Absolutely.
So,
Got the taste for it.
oh, yeah. But then, when I was like 14 years old, I used to catch a bus off of Route 50 and walk across Key Bridge.
Uh-huh.
And I'd walk up and down the street looking at the girls.
Yes,
My
sir.
wife don't hear this, so I don't care. She knows. But every band I'd hear, like a lot of them clubs, you're playing Johnny B. Good or Free Bird or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's like just getting kind of tired of hearing it. And I'm being honest, it's like I'd walk from one end of the block to the other.
Yeah.
And I'd hear the same fucking music.
Sure.
And I always wanted to just kind of wish I was a songwriter or be in a band that did original music. So it was kind of hard to find people that wanted to do original stuff.
Absolutely.
I guess what you might call the garage type stuff.
Yeah.
Well, at that time, it was hard to find original stuff because
Yes,
clubs
that's-
would not book you.
Exactly. But then again, I'm only like, 14, 15 years old, and I couldn't get in them places anyways.
I'm convinced that if you create your own spell, it has a greater effect on your life. But very many people don't have the confidence to do this as beginners. The people who say they are witches, and there are very many thousands of them in the United States, may or may not be witches. That I don't know. I haven't gone through any spiritual.
And now when I first started hearing the early punk stuff, man, I loved it because I liked hard rock anyways, like Black Sabbath
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I don't know. And then, see, I went to school with the guys in Scream in the first place,
Okay.
and I didn't realize that who was the guitar player, Franz, started getting into the Clash.
Mm-hmm.
So he and I started talking about it, and we wanted to jam and stuff like that. And then Skeeter, the bass player, he actually was a guitar player at the time, and he told me about this band he saw down in D.C. called the Bad Brains.
Yes.
You see, I'm almost like into the hard street punk from England, like Sham 69, Cockney Rejects, stuff like that. And he goes, "Get me out of here. This hard band they call it hardcore." And I'm like, "What do you mean? It's like street punk, like Sham 69?" "No, man, it's like something different." And I was like, "Okay." And he kept like almost needling me in the chest to come down to go see him. And man, when I saw them, they scared me to death.
Sure. There's a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, I mean it filled the room. It pushed you against the wall. You know what I'm saying? And they were good players too.
Absolutely.
Don could tell you all about that.
They were good players.
Yeah.
They recorded right here, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Right
Yeah.
where you're sitting.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
It's scary, but maybe a little exhilarating at the same
Yeah.
time.
But anyways, through the years, I was playing with Scream, and then after I more or less left them, I started playing around with other local bands around the area, and we did some recording at Don's studio at
Yeah.
the new one
Yes.
when he first opened that up. One band was the Suspects.
Yes.
We did a couple records. I think something for a split as well. And then after that, did a couple more punk bands or what have you. And at the same time, I wanted to play jazz.
Sure.
I wanted to do cocktail music.
And why not?
Yeah. And I want to do a lot of samba stuff.
Oh, samba's great.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I was more of a listener than I was a player. I kind of had to just sit down and listen to it and teach myself how to play it. And after that, there was some sax player that introduced me to this fellow. He wanted me to come try out for him. He was a piano player around the area his name was Daryl Davis.
Okay, yeah.
And, he did like boogie woogie piano, that sort of
right.
thing.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to come out to clear the ballroom to try out. I'm like, okay, only like shuffle that I really played was like a little bit of shuffle and reggae music.
Oh, nice.
But I knew what he meant, the old rock and roll feel. Next thing I know, I played one song, and
I didn't think he wanted me to play anymore. I was getting ready to get off stage. He goes, no, stay right back there. Okay. And like he played Johnny B. Good or something like that. And then next thing I know, like I think 2 weeks later, he called me up and started giving me a bunch of these gigs. So I ended up playing with him.
It's a good
played
phone
with
call
him
to
for
get.
played with him, I guess, a dozen years.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. all
That's a
around
real
the
good
area.
phone call to get.
Yeah. Did a lot of the swing dances, did corporate gigs, and
Sure.
weddings and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Kent, you've got a great history, really.
I ain't stopped playing yet, buddy.
Still writing it. Still
It
writing.
isn't written.
Still under
Oh,
construction.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
And John, do you have any run-ins with Daryl?
Yeah, I play with him once in a while.
I think you were in one band. I think we played at Glen Echo. You were in one band. I think we played right after you, something like that. That's where I saw you one time. I don't think I introduced myself, but the bass player to play with Daryl did. Eduardo, does he ring a bell with you? I got you. I got you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But that was that's really Chuck Berry's bass player. Well, Daryl was his band when they did the East Coast tours and stuff. So
It's always
yeah.
exciting when we
That's
have
great
people
stuff.
who have a storied career because then there's somewhat of a legacy in play. And I've asked Don about his legacy, and he just kind of deflects any kind of question about it. He doesn't like to talk about history. Do you have a sense of your legacy and your place in sort of like musical history? Do you understand where you sit in that realm? Do you have any sense of it at all?
I myself, I'm gonna pass this mic around.
We should ask everybody in the room.
Yeah, I
this.
know. I'm a drummer. At least I think I am. If that's what you want
Oh,
to
yes,
call it.
you are.
Oh yeah, but I'm still playing.
Yeah.
You know, so and I still
But people
enjoy
do
it.
want to play with you.
I want to play with them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. But people who haven't met you want to play with you. Even.
I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little different though than say like Fred, who like people might hear your recording and be like, I want to play with that guy.
okay.
Right.
Got to play with that guy.
Well, but it happens. It does happen, right?
But
Do you have a sense, like, I mean,
Oh, he's got a mic. Okay.
getting to write song, getting to see Paul Simon write a song is a very special moment. But you've had many special moments.
Yeah. It's hard to say. Sometimes, do I have a sense of my place in history?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think of, what got me thinking about this was working on, maybe you heard about this documentary, the Anacostia Delta, and it started off to be about Danny, but then we realized that it had to be about a lot of other people because Danny was influenced by folks, and then he influenced people. So it was kind of neat to see that you start to get a sense that you're in a lineage, and that was kind of exciting to figure that out. To see where young Danny got, and he met this Frankie Shago, for instance, who's gone now. Frankie was, according to Mark Apsasnik, possibly the first rock and roll guitar player in Maryland. And also became a great jazz player, was Danny's hero, one of Danny's big heroes. And they met when Danny was about 11 years old, and Frankie had just gotten out of the Navy during the Korean War, right? So you learn things like that, and then you get to meet these people and maybe play with them some. And it is pretty astonishing, when you use the word authentic. These guys, the more you play, the more you realize, I'd be nowhere without these people. I'd be nothing. I'd be in my basement playing in D minor thinking I was doing something. And then you realize there's all this, what these guys have done, all the work Kent had to do. He's talking about all these groups he's with. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of concentration, a lot of physical and mental work. It sounds like, yeah, I play with 800 bands, but it's pretty amazing. That's astonishing. And so, yeah, sometimes you can step back and see where you might fit in, but you realize there's so much, these giants that came before. The cool thing about, I think, what we do is that it's like if you're doing blues, any kind of roots music, you do have a strong sense that you're walking in somebody else's footsteps. The Beatles kind of messed that up. No, I love the Beatles, don't get me wrong, but they were a super group, But everyone else before that, even Elvis was on the back of a hay wagon. You know, you get this sense that, yeah, Hank Williams. Oh yeah, you know, you could walk out your back door and meet him. You know, but not the Beatles. They're in the stratosphere. That's a different thing. But you do get a sense that you're walking.
Well, they came here on a plane. You
Well,
know,
that's-
they
yeah.
arrived.
It's not their fault.
Yeah, it's
And I love the Beatles, and they, you know, they had the very powerful roots. They're great, you know. But anyway,
What about you, Don? Do you have a sense of your legacy and your place in history?
No.
we'll tell you all about
That's fine. Good answer. Wilfredo, next.
Yeah. So, like, I had the hardest time even imagining like what adulthood looked like or wanting to participate in it, and so all of this is a bonus round to me, and like you know, like just having a blast and studying really hard, you know, being a good person and, you know, trying to fit and work the edges of like what is considered a career or can be productive, and also while like being creative while doing it. If I have any kind of legacy, it'll be the students I work with, and they don't have to be the greatest, but if they're on an even keel, and I help them out, you know, being the buddy I wish I had back when I was their age and stuff. I think that's enough for me. Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, at the same time, though, you kind of spearheaded this group. Am I correct? You know,
I suppose I was a main instigator. Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The moment John said, "Hey, we should start gigging," I was like, "Sure, if you say so." And yeah, so you know, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a go at it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Should we go into a song?
We can go into a
Yeah.
song.
That's a
All
good
right.
segue.
They make you work so hard. You come out here to relax. Can't a man relax?
Song.
call. I think maybe Lucky Southern. Let's get these standards.
Now, how did this song come about?
This one is another jazz standard, and it was one that I studied with both my guitar teacher Rick and also John, and I kicked it around for a while, and it's just a fun one. It's like a bossa nova, though we kind of play it like a samba. Is that right, Kent? You're thinking But it's Keith Jarrett tune, right? Fantastic piano player, and he's a great player. And he oftentimes just sings and has outbursts while he plays. Like he can't help himself. He's a great performer. This is Wilfredo Morales, guitarist of the group Swingamajig.
This is Kent Stacks, the drummer of Swingamajig.
And I'm John Previty, the bassist with Swingamajig.
Yeah, so we'll hit this one, Lucky Southern, and play an original afterwards. So. Yeah. We'll hit this guy. Pass the peace in this digital communion. We may be heretics. Let the philosophes figure that out. We hold each other close in our hearts. Pass the peace in this digital reunion. I may be wrong about it all. What in the world do I know? I think about you now and then. Code up the friend. The peace in this digital communion. We may be heretics. Let the philosophes figure that out. I think about you now and then. Code up the friend. Code up the friend. Yes.
Now, sometimes when I hear a song, it's like I get this mental picture in my head. And I don't think it's like the other side trying to talk to me, but I really do feel like it's a culmination of of what you're trying to communicate, and I feel like a loyalty, like a love, but like almost like is it like an animal, like a pet?
Sure. Yes. Yes. Oh man, nailed it. So a couple different components to that. I first unveiled that prototype of that song sometime last year at Inner Ear, actually on StageCraft.
I believe I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So and I explained it to my friend here, John. It was the line, "Pass the peace in this digital communion." Like one of the first weeks under lockdown, my pastors, they decided to kind of go forward with the communion, but we were all like under lockdown, everyone in their own house, and so the bread and the wine or juice was kind of like a proxy blessing, and it wasn't like really like by the books, and so it was almost like this like experimental Christianity spiritualism. I think most people in the congregation were scared and just trying to get some comfort. And so I don't know if it counted. I don't know if that's like cool or not, but it was just like this thought experiment of, well, what are we up to? Let the philosophes figure that out. The future historians can determine if the faith evolved and changed, or if we were just, comforting ourselves.
So the song's not about your cat?
And then I turn it around and I talk about fellowship, and then also I think about my buddy Coda. He is an empathetic cat, and he comforts me. And also, apart from a dedication to both my cat and my wife, I wanted to dedicate this performance to Juanita. I call her up every once in a while seeking Dawn's advice, and she's also been cool. And I told her earlier today, this gig's for her.
I told her to block your calls.
That's right. So yeah, a couple different levels on it. Mostly it was just like worry and panic, and then also comfort in the familiar.
Well, I think we're at that special time of the show where everyone's got to come up with on the spot some final words of wisdom. Who wants to go first? Fred, I know you're not
Who
afraid.
feels wise?
Fred, are you unafraid?
Yeah, I can say a thing or two.
Parting words of wisdom for the listeners.
Listen, people. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth and into your ear hole right now.
We're listening. We're listening.
Get it together, y'all. Get it together. Seriously, though, you do have an opportunity every morning to make a decision to lead with gratitude and to put your best effort forth to contribute to what can be a joyous occasion.
That's beautifully said. Beautifully said. Kat, what do you got for us?
I just got to
was
say,
great.
StageCraft, get it, people. Get it. Get
Get
it now.
it, people. What about you, Don?
Get it together. Yes.
Get it together?
Yeah, Fred says it all, really. I mean, it's, you wake up every morning and you think to yourself, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And then you go out and you do something spectacular. And that's satisfaction. Satisfaction in the world, whether it's writing a song, playing a song with people, you've done it just, it's creative. I mean, that's what we're talking about in StageCraft. We're talking about artists that come together with things.
I don't know what we talk about anymore.
Really?
Yeah, no idea.
Well,
Gentlemen, do you
we
have
should
some...
have a program.
we should do like a pre-show or something. Gentlemen, words of wisdom. Do you
Find
have...
time to come up with that
I was
idea.
going to say, make it happen.
Yeah, get it. Make it happen.
Y'all like that?
What do you got for us?
Yeah, what do you want to say?
Oh no, Mr. Previty.
Oh, well, I just remember when I was young and discovering J.S. Bach and learning that I loved his music, of course. He's actually the baddest cat, I guess, if you had to pick one. And he did everything to the glory of God, and I just try to do that too and seek and serve Christ and other people. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Previty.
All three of you gentlemen, thank you for spending your extraordinarily
Yeah, Wilfredo
extraordinarily
Morales,
talented,
Willie Nelson
your
Morales,
valuable
American
time with
treasure.
us. Wilfredo, please, I want you to have the last word. Parting words of wisdom.
It's so hard to follow all that advice. Okay, so this one comes Confucius by way of Chris Farley. Okay, man with hand in pants feels cocky all day. Swingamajig. One word. Swingamajig. No hyphen. This one is a little decisive thing or divisive. No hyphen, right, Kent? No. It's not in the budget. Yeah. So, you guys feel like going through the next two now and getting it out of the way? Mr. Coda? Getting it out of the way. Good night.
Brilliant.
It's like
Drop
a call
that
back
mic.
to our CCO episode, really.
Are we done?
Thank
Is
you,
that
John.
it? All right. Way to go, everybody.